Hey guys, in this video we're going to be analyzing the Champions League finals, but more specifically how Chelsea dominated against Manchester City. So let's dive right in. In the game, we sensed that there was more intensity coming from Chelsea than Manchester City, and this is a dual win rate, and we can see that Chelsea had almost 10% more than Manchester City. Another stat we can see is the passing stat. A lot of the passing was done by City, but if you see the key passes, Chelsea had more of it. Manchester City, especially in the first half, had slow passing movements and didn't show enough courage in their play. Now we're going to look at both managers' tactics, starting with Guardiola's. In possession, build up from the back, try to overload opponents in the middle of the pitch, and look for pockets of spaces to attack. Look for counterattacks if possible, high press when necessary. Now we're going to look at Tuchel's tactics. Do not let easy passage for City to play through the middle and press the opponent in half spaces. In possession, do not force play in the middle, rather try to look for forward players for a long ball or the wing backs if they're open. Look for pressing opportunities in the center or the flanks. When the ball is won, go directly forward with intention and speed. And let's see how these tactics were applied in the game. Thomas Tuchel wanted to stretch out the play in order to create space for themselves, and he did this by using Havertz, Mount, and Werner, his front three players. In this moment, you can see that Chelsea has possession and their structure is pretty spread out. You can see the front three players are beyond Man City's back four, and this is basically how they were able to stretch out their play. Because of the forward players, the back four of City were confined to a very compact structure, which in turn gave space for Chelsea to play around with. As mentioned before, Tuchel didn't want to force play in the middle, and he wanted to use wingbacks when possible. In this moment, you can see that Phil Foden dropped in the middle to create a 3v2 advantage for Manchester City. However, it also meant that Reece James was completely open as a consequence, which led to Zinchenko to have to come out of his line, and gave the opportunity for Reece James to play a long ball over the defensive line of Manchester City. This time, Chilwell is open on the opposite side, and Mendy is able to find him with the long ball. In turn, this made Walker come out of his line, and this basically led to Chelsea's winning goal. In that night, Pep Guardiola was scratching his head more than usual, and it's because of their disorganization, which is pretty rare to see. Here you can see that Manchester City's average positioning against Everton was pretty spread out. Just by looking at this, you can tell that the structure was 4-3-3. Compare this with when they went against City, and you really don't know what's really happening. And in the middle, there's a lot of cluster and very disorganized look about it. This is the moment when Manchester City got scored on. You can see the two players, Walker and Stones, very out of position and their orientations off. Gundogan checks his shoulder to see Havertz is in a very dangerous situation. So all he has to do is step into that zone to cut off the passing angle. But for some reason, he does not do that and allows the pass to go through. In this moment, Mahrez has the ball, but he is surrounded by two other players. It seems like the only option is Kyle Walker, but he is also with another player. The other four players are on the opposite side, and they're very clustered together. All throughout the match, it seemed like they didn't have the organization they usually have. Compared to City, Chelsea defended with great organization. As mentioned before, they didn't want easy passage for City to play through the middle and press the opponent in half spaces. You can see here that Chelsea defended with 5-2-3, and they also use a zonal marking system. In order to use zonal marking against City, they had to use a cover shadow in order to defend against them. So except for the 5-back, all the rest of the players had to put cover shadow on their defender, which frustrated City when they had the ball. However, one could argue that they could play to Walker in this instant and can play the player in half space. However, Tuchel also had a solution for that. So if Walker had the ball and had a passing lane towards Silva, Rudiger will come out of his line to press Silva and made Jorginho to cover him behind them. Also, we need to put some respect and credit to the individual brilliance of Chelsea players' performance, as well as the collective and unity that they showed as a team. I believe that Chelsea did deserve to win the final just by looking at this one game. I would like to congratulate the players and the team for winning their second Champions League finals.